Hi everyone. Can can
Hello.
everybody
Yeah, we can
Hello.
hear you now.
say
Hello, good evening, ma.
good evening? How are you
Good
guys
evening,
doing
ma.
today? Good
Good
evening.
evening.
It's good to hear from you guys. I hope you had a lovely weekend.
Yes, thank you so
Yes,
much.
yes, of course.
Yes.
And
Okay.
you?
I had an awesome weekend too. Thank you very much. So we are starting our class, and pardon me, I'm a bit
What's up
late
now?
for class. Pardon me, I'm a bit late for the class. Um, there were there was a technical issue, and so I'm really so sorry for coming a bit late. So, what did we learn last week? So, I have, like we usually would do it, please let's keep ourselves muted. But if you are on mute, of course, you will tell us everything we did last week. So, who can tell us? Let me see who is not speaking, who is very on mute. Mm. So Titilope Ifeolu, can you tell us what we did last week? Titilope, if you are there, can you hear me?
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening to you.
Yeah, last week, that's like last week, Monday.
Yeah, Saturday.
Okay, I was in class on Saturday.
What
I took
happened?
graduation. I had my graduation on Saturday.
Oh, okay. Then please be attentive in class today because you have missed like an hour, okay?
Yeah, thank
You
you.
haven't missed a lot. And happy graduation to you. Congratulations.
Thank you, ma.
You're welcome. Okay, so let's move on to who was here. Babalola Joshua. Tell us what we did on Saturday.
Good evening, ma. On Saturday, we discussed number, which you said in German is called Zellen.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so, and we look at from number one till 1,000. And you also gave us some certain assignments
Mm-hmm.
and they like, so
Okay. Thank you very
that
much.
is short, yes.
Thank you. So, I'd like Chika Okeke to also tell us what we did and what was the difference between saying numbers when you're counting and when you're talking about your house address. What did I say? How do you call your house address? Because somebody has this question.
Okay. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
So you said when numbers are being listed out, it's called Zaylen. So
Yes.
and then when it is to refer a particular number, it is called Noma.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. So let's get into our assignment. Before we get into our assignment, um, I want us to do like 6 minutes refresh. So how do you say good evening in German? How do you say good evening? You can just raise your hand. I'm gonna call you. How do you say good evening in German? Can somebody tell us? Okay. Faith Harry, how do you say good evening?
Guten Abend.
Guten Abend. And how do you say goodbye in official situation?
In official situation or
In official situation, pardon me, that was my phone. In
okay.
an
Tschüss.
inofficial situation, how do you say goodbye?
Tschüss.
Okay. And when you are talking on phone, how do you say?
Auf Wiederhören.
Okay. And when you want to say in formal situation, how do you say goodbye?
Auf Wiedersehen.
Auf Wiedersehen. Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. So, Babalola Joshua. So how do you say see you later? Babalola, how do you say see you later?
Bis bad.
Okay. Bis später.
Okay, bis später, yes.
So how do you say till then?
Bis dann.
Okay. So one more question for you before I let you go. How do you say good day?
Guten Tag.
Guten Tag. Okay, thank you very much. So, Amarachi Igwe, how do you say good night?
Good
Amarachi,
snack. Good snack.
Gute Nacht.
Good snack.
Okay, then how do you say sleep well or sleep beautiful or dream sweet? How do you say that?
I've forgotten.
Now try to remember now. So, who can tell Amarachi how to say good night, sleep well or dream sweet? Who else can say it? Who can help us out? Faith Ari, please tell us.
Okay, Schlaf schon.
Schlaf schon. So okay. So Amara, did you hear that?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so then we are good to go, right? Are we good to go? Can somebody say yes so that I will know if
Yeah.
anyone has a question? If anyone has a
Yes.
question, please let me know before we move forward. If you have a question, you can just raise your hand. If so far what we did is not clear to you, just raise your hand and we could quickly touch on that topic before. Cecilia, why are you sad? Cecilia, Amma, why are you sad?
Yeah.
What happened?
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Ma.
Good evening.
I just joined the class and I'm kind of lost. So I'm getting what I'm part of the conversation, but I'm kind of lost. Am I supposed to go and find out what you've already taught or
Sorry,
read it up myself?
Cecilia, just to
Okay.
interrupt. We made it clear that those that are just joining the class, this is the third class now. You understand? If you're joining this
Yes.
class, you have to, the teacher is not going to go back and start explaining from the beginning, and because you'll be taking the class backwards. You understand me?
Yeah.
So if you just
Yeah.
join the class, you just have to catch up quickly. Because people that have been, we made it clear, registrations were closed, but we gave just give a grace period just to allow those that were crying, requesting and all that. So please, you have to, we don't want to take the class backwards. We want to, the teachers because of time. So let us
Okay.
keep on moving. And you have to do extra work basically. That's just it. So that others can keep on moving. This is why we said, look, join on time, register on time, and start from the beginning. But most people are joining late, and this is the result that happens when people join late. You understand me? So
Okay.
let's keep
Yeah.
it.
Thank you, sir. But yeah, sorry. Just one more question. Is it possible to know what you really learned before? Share the curriculum or something of things that have been learned before. I just want to know.
That will be up to the teacher to, if she decides to to share that. So if she decides to do that, then that will be shared to everyone. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Cecilia. Don't worry, don't be too sad. We haven't gone that far. So the only thing we can actually do for you is to tell you what we talked about, which are basically on Saturday we did numbers. So you have to go learn numbers, okay? And also learn how to greet. Okay, we didn't do so much, but just like Chike said, we cannot really go back again because we don't want to draw the others back. So really, I do apologize that we cannot go back. Okay. So let's move ahead. But you will catch up. Don't worry. You will definitely catch up. You're welcome. So let's go back to our assignment. And whoever is very unmuted will have to do this assignment for us. Okay. So Judge Will, you are very unmuted. Go ahead and give us the 5 numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So go ahead, tell us 5 numbers.
Okay, is it any 5 or?
No, the first 5.
Null, eins, zwei, drei, vier, fünf. That's 1 to 5, 0 to 5.
Okay, but that's not our assignment.
Okay, is it on the assignment?
Yes, on the assignment.
Okay. The first is 88. That's act on actish.
Okay.
Then 55, fünf on fünftisch.
Yeah.
33, try on tritisch.
Mm-hmm.
And then 44, vier on viertisch.
Mm-hmm.
And 48, act on viertisch.
Okay, perfect. Done. Thank you very much. So you can mute yourself.
Thank
now.
you. Thank you.
So let me go to who was in the class the last time. Power Ebosele. Can you do the 3 numbers after that?
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. It's another. Okay. 90.
Okay.
Constant.
Mm-hmm.
And non-sex. That's O6.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Then O2 is non-Zwe.
Repeat that.
Non-Zwe.
Which numbers are you trying to say? Because I have 45 here.
Okay, 45. I think I skipped that.
Okay.
But I've already. 45 is that's 45.
45. Okay, thank you very much. So let me see another person. Itunua Bodere. Can you give us the 3 numbers after that? Itunu, you can unmute yourself. Okay, Itunu, you have to report here. I don't know what you're doing. Jude Akintayo, please say the next 3 numbers for us. Jude, where are you? Report yourself here as well.
I'm sorry. Good evening, ma.
Good evening. Okay. Itunu, now we can hear you. Your
Yes, I
network was
was
a bit bad.
not in the last class.
Okay. Then please
Yes, I was not in the last class. I just joined now, ma.
Okay. Then just stay, pay attention. You will catch up, okay?
All right, ma. Thank you, ma.
You're welcome. So, Daniel Oni, can you say the last 3 numbers? I mean, the 3 numbers after.
Okay.
That's 28 and right from 28 to, so 28 is 28, 1003. 1003 is a 300.000. Then 1009 is 900.000.
Okay. Okay, 28, but you skip 29 now.
Okay, 29 is 29.
Repeat again.
29.
29.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So before I move along, so this 1,000, I wanted us to try it, but I guess that's okay. Wait, I'm going to give room for someone else to pronounce 1,003 for us. Kelvin James, can you pronounce 1,003 for us?
Let me try.
Good evening. So give it a try. So how do you say 1,003? Kelvin James, are you talking? Because we can't hear you. Okay, Blessing. Andrew, can you say that for us? Can you try? Your hand is raised. Blessing, Andrew.
Good evening.
Good evening to you. So can you try?
Okay, I'm going to try, but that wasn't why I was raising my hand though.
Okay, why were you raising your hand?
I was raising my hand if it's possible to display the assignments for us to see. I had a network glitch before the class ended last Saturday, so I didn't get the assignment.
Oh, unfortunately, I intentionally not displayed. I didn't display it because I asked everybody to take it down by
Okay, I
themselves.
can try though.
So give it a try still.
Okay, that would be 9,003.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Then let's hear from Babalola. Babalola, let's
Yes,
hear from
sorry, as at that time.
Okay.
Is it the 103 we're still saying?
Yes.
Okay.
And who's speaking?
Itoha. So I will try. 9,000 try.
Dry.
Try. Okay, try. Yeah.
Say dry. Dry. Like
Dry.
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 Okay. Okay. Okay, so then since you decide to help us out and bail us out, then say the last three numbers that we have after that.
The 105, 1,005.
There's 109, and which other one?
9,009.
Then the next one.
Okay. 9,000 die. Oh, the last one. That one. Okay. 9,000 9,000.
And then the very last one.
9,000 find.
Repeat again.
9,000 find.
Say the 5. Let me hear. What do you call 5?
Is it point?
Fünf.
Faint. Okay, yeah, faint. Yeah.
Fünf.
Faint. Yes, yes.
Wait, let me give you the how you pronounce it. I know that it's a bit challenging.
Yeah.
So give me a minute. Let me open my board. So it's called fünf. Fünf.
Yeah. Okay.
Fünf. Don't worry, you will get it later.
Okay.
It's called fünf. Okay, fünf.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to write that so that in case anyone is having also, I hope everybody can see my board. Can everybody see it?
Yes, I can see
Yes.
it.
Yeah. Fünf.
Coming in.
So, who is saying only me cannot say it? Fünf. Ja, genau so. Fünf. Okay? Fünf. Don't worry, along the line you will get it. It might just take a bit of time, but you will get it. So, let's move along. Samuel, no, Solomon, why are you raising your hand?
Okay, sorry. I wanted to know, when we were pronouncing 88, 55, and the rest of them, we
Yes.
were pronouncing it back forward, something like that. So
Yeah.
does rule not apply when you enter 1000 and something?
No.
Okay.
You cannot say 1001, or you cannot say 1000. It's not sounding, it's grammatically very incorrect. So the only thing for you to do in such situation is to say 1001 oder 1001, yeah, 1001 oder 1002, 1003, 4, 5. So when you get to 1000, you go all the way again. It's just like when you have 2002. How do you say 2002? 2002. When I say to you 2002, you will look at me like, what's this one saying? But once I say 2002, you already pick, okay, 1002, you see, or 2002. When I say 3003, then you already know that she's talking about 3003. So you can easily say, but once I now say 3003, then you now be like, okay, what's she saying now? So for easy pronunciation, once you just say 1001 or 2002, then they already know that that's what you're saying. But when you want to write it down, that's what you have to write as well, because when you now say 1001, it's very incorrect, and even you will feel it that, okay, it's not flowing. Meanwhile, sometimes when you're speaking as well, you're welcome. When you're speaking as well, you have to, it comes with feeling, just like when we are speaking English, and you just flow with your English without even thinking, oh, am I making error? It's the same way also in German language. It comes with feeling. By the time you are saying one word, you yourself, you will know that, okay, that's not flowing. Okay. So
thank you very much.
That was it. You're welcome. So who else have question before we move on? Because today is going to be very, very interesting for us. So I hope you have your tea. If I tell us.
Okay, my question is, in that assignment, we have 06, and that 06 was not mentioned.
Who said it was not mentioned? Tell us, what is 06? How do
I didn't hear now, because you actually told the person that was answering to jump boxes when he was trying to measure and he was having difficulty.
No, of course. Of course, the person
is having
said it.
difficulty.
Oh yeah, say it. Okay, now that we are here, say it for us. Let's hear you.
I am not sure, but what I wrote here is Zech und Null.
Okay, so who can help us out with this question?
Okay, 06 is 96.
Okay, Jonathan Efeso, you want to say something?
They already answered it. It's null Zech.
Null
Zech.
96. Okay. So let's move on quickly to our today's topic. I know we're supposed to also talk about self-introduction, but now that we are doing numbers, let's cover it at the same time so that we won't have to go back to these numbers. Okay, let's just know it and we get it done with. Okay. Just guys, give me a minute. Why am I? Can everybody still hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, I
Yes,
can.
we can hear you.
Okay, it's very funny that my Zoom decides to be performing some wonders, but give me a minute. I can't tend to open my board. You guys just give me a minute, okay? Okay, so now I'm back with you guys. So now that we are at numbers, let's finish it once and for all and we won't have to go back. Please don't forget that even though you know how to say these numbers, you should also know how to write them. It is very, very important that you know how to write these numbers in words, okay? So please learn that for yourself. Learn how to write it for yourself. So we are going to go to years, okay? We are going to years today. We're going to just cover that very quickly. And if you do not understand, please feel free to just give me a wave of hand so that I'll stop for a bit and then hear you out. Who else can see my board? Can you all see my board?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay. So let's go to 1999. Why am I picking 1999? I don't know. So we are talking about years. How do you say your years? Maybe the day you were born or the day something happened or something shall happen somewhere and you want to say the years. Okay. Because you know we already did numbers, but let me do something. So 2000. So we did 1000, right? So let's go to 2000. 2000. So 2000. Just in case you are wondering how to write it. 3000. 3000. 4000. Who can try to take it all the way to 9,000 for us? Who can try? You can just give me a wave of hand. Jonathan, go ahead, try.
4,000, 4,000.
Yeah.
5,000, 5,000. 6,000, 6,000. 7,000 is 7,000. 8,000 is 8,000. And 9,000 is 9,000.
Okay. So try 10,000 too.
Excuse me?
Try 10,000.
I don't know if it applies, but 10 that I know is cent. So is it 10,000?
10,000.
10,000.
Yeah, the same 10,000. About the way you pronounce it or the way you write it is quite different from the English. You should know that already. So our 10, let's not forget our 10, and then we now put our 1,000 at the back of it.
Yeah.
Then we have our 10,000. So the same way goes for 8,000, 12,000, 13, 14, 15, 16. So it goes on and on and on and on like that. Okay, so I think we have finished covering this one. If anybody has a question, please don't hesitate to just raise your hand and ask me. So that's about it. So just put this at the back of your mind while we go back to what we are doing. So I'm writing some numbers on the screen. So I hope you can see that. 1980, 2000, 2000 here, 2009. So 2009. And 1770. Okay, so I've written some numbers. How do we say 400? How do we say 400,000? Do you want to try? We just asked that question. Do you want to try? Okay, so who can pronounce this number for us? Okay, Jonathan, I'll get back to you. So who can pronounce this number I just wrote on the screen? Who can pronounce these numbers I just wrote on the screen? Jude Akitola, Akitayo. Please go ahead.
For 1,999, that would be 9,990, I think.
Go ahead.
And then for 2005, that would be 5,005. And for 1,880, 1,880. Then for 1,980, that would be 9,980. Then for 2004, that would be 2,004 or 2,004. Then 2001 will be 2,001. And then for 1,770, that would be 1,770 I think.
Okay, so this 7, what did I tell you in the last class to always do with this 7? Pronounce this one again. This one. Pronounce this again.
1,770. Something like that, I think.
1,000. 1,000. 1,000. Go ahead.
700 or 700.
Okay. 1,770.
Yeah.
Okay. So I hope we are all getting very clear on this. So if somebody should ask you, when is your birthday? I can see the board, but cannot see what is written on the board. Okay, I think you have to zoom, zoom out or zoom in. Okay, somebody zoom in.
If you can see the board, but you can't see what's written, depends. You can try and zoom out so that you see the entire board. Depends on, then you can scroll the slider either left or right, or it depends on if you're actually seeing something but it's too small, you can try and zoom in. So I'll advise that you zoom out first, then use the slider either to see left or right, so you can navigate to where the teacher is, or up and down. You'll definitely see what she's writing, and it should be fine.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so if somebody should ask you, I can see. Okay, so if somebody should ask you, what's your date of birth? I'm not talking about the year now. I'm talking about the date. Okay, so let's say you were born on the 6th. You were born on the 6th because we have to I know it's very crazy learning numbers sometimes, but let's learn this and get it out of the way, like I said. So if somebody should ask you, what's your date of birth? On what date were you born? And you reply on the 6th. Okay? When we talked about numbers, and then you cannot now tell them that I was born on the 6th. There is something we call Esther, Zweite. I'll write that very soon. Dritte, Vierte, Fünfte, Sechste. So when you're talking about your birthday, you don't just say, oh, I was born on the 6th. You cannot say that. You cannot say that. So you have to say Erste or Zweite or Drei or Vierte or Dreizehnte or Zwanzigste. Okay? So let me let you guys in on what I'm talking about. So when they ask, what's my date of birth? I was born on the 13th. And I would tell them that this 13 is 13. Okay? So I'm trying to, I'm trying to call this number that I have here. I'm trying to call this number that I have here. So if you want to say, Mabel, when were you born? I would tell you that I was born 13. Okay? Somebody should stop zooming out of my board. It's affecting my writing. So 13, okay? 13, 14, 16. Who is understanding what I'm saying? Who is understanding what I'm saying? Someone should just unmute and tell me. I'm not talking to myself.
We're listening. We're here.
Okay. So when you're born on the 12, 11, regardless of what date you were born, you don't say, I'm born on the 1. It's a grammatic failure, mistake, sorry. It's a grammatic mistake. So you don't say, I am born on the 1. No, you say, I was born, or, yeah, I'm born on the 1st. Just like we have it in English. Sunday, please, let's hear from you because we have to move really very fast now. What do you want to say?
Okay, I'm sorry. You already got into it. It's just like saying you want to say the first instead of saying 1. You're saying first. Second, you're saying. You understand? So you are already explaining it already.
Okay, thank you very much. So, who else has a question? If nobody else has a question, then let's move on very quickly, like I said. So, we covered all the numbers that we are supposed to cover, then we are not going back there today. Today, we are going to talk about, the last time I said we're going to talk about sich Vorstellung or sich vorstellen. That's self-introduction or introducing yourself. So, sich. Somebody should stop playing with my board, please. Stop zooming out. It's really, really affecting me. Don't worry, you will see the board, okay? So, self-introduction. Introduction. Or, like we call it here, sich vorstellen. Sich vorstellen. Okay? And Ich bin Mabel. Ich bin Mabel. Ich bin Mabel. Or ich heiße Mabel. Ich heiße Mabel. Okay, I need to write that properly. Ich heiße Mabel. Ich heiße Mabel. Or I can say to you, mein Name ist Mabel. Mein Name ist Mabel. So this means the same thing. All of this means the same thing. I am Mabel. My name is. So all of this means the same thing. But in some official, in a very formal setting, you can't say Ich heiße Mabel. And that's because when you start saying Ich heiße Mabel, then it means that you're already comfortable with that atmosphere. But when you are in a very formal situation, then you have to write mein Name, or you have to introduce yourself as mein Name ist Mabel. Anybody who can see the board, please zoom in. Okay. So you will say, mein Name ist John, oder mein Name ist Amarachi, oder mein Name ist Itoha, you know. But when you get to official setting, in a very formal situation, you put it as, this you use in a very formal situation. Okay, like now that we already like know each other and we all familiar with each other, then you can now say Ich heiße Mabel, or Ich heiße John, or Ich bin John. Then we now skip to your family name. Okay, my Familienname. Don't forget that we are doing introduction today. So my Familienname. Okay, let me assume. My Familienname is, maybe you can say John. My Familienname is John. Okay, someone should just stop zooming in and out of the board because it's really, really affecting me. Okay, guys, please stop zooming in and out. Okay, please, it's affecting my as well. So, my Familienname ist John. Can you still all see the board?
Yes.
Okay.
No, ma.
Okay, I don't know what's happening today, but just try to flow along, okay? So my Familienname ist John, for example. And then how do you now connect the two of them? So I just said my name is Mabel. Ich bin Mabel. Don't forget that because we are already in a very familiar atmosphere. I can say Ich bin Mabel or Ich heiße Mabel und meine Familienname ist John. Okay, so then we move on to, now let me give you a template that we are going to be using to introduce ourselves. Now, you say your name. You say your name. Okay. Then you say your land, where you're coming from. Then you say where you live. That is Wohnort, where you live. Then you say what you do. Beruf. Beruf. Then you can say hobby. Okay. Or hobbies. So this is just a very small template for you not to forget when you are introducing yourself. As time goes on, as you climb that ladder, you know, as you advance, maybe in your A2 or B1 or C1, you will graduate from, you know, the basic level to introducing yourself in a more distinct way. But this template that I wrote here as what you can use as a starter. So you say, my Name ist Mabel. Then when you come to land, land is asking you, which land do you come from? I will then now say, Ich komme aus Nigeria. Ich komme aus Nigeria. So let me write it here. Ich komme aus Nigeria. Ich komme aus Nigeria. Okay. They have, maybe in our next class, we are going to do how they are saying, how they pronounce each country, because it's not the way you say it in English that they say it here. So like us, you can say, Ich komme aus Nigeria. Okay. Then we move to where you're living. Where you're living. This Wohnort. This Wohnort is where you're living. Okay. You say, Ich wohne in Berlin, for example. Or Ich wohne in Nigeria. Ich wohne in Nigeria. Can you see? Then if you are a student or you are a teacher, then this will bring you to Beruf. Okay? It will bring you to the Beruf. It will bring you to the Beruf. And the Beruf, they are asking you, what is your profession? What are you doing? Or who are you? How do we know what you do or what's your field? This Beruf, that's what the Beruf is talking about, Beruf. Okay, and then you can now say, maybe you're a student, for example, you can say, Ich bin Student. Now, for German language, they have feminine cases and male cases, so masculine or feminine. So as for men, ich bin Student oder Studentin. So IN oder Studentin. Studentin. So if you're a student, for those who are male, you can use I am a student. You can say Ich bin Student. Or if you are female studying, you can say Ich bin Studentin. The IN is always very important to identify if you are male or female in German language. Okay, very, very important. Okay, everybody needs to stop zooming and zooming out.
Sorry, we are not seeing what you're writing. That's the problem we're having. Sorry.
Okay. Give me a minute. Let me increase the font, guys. Give me a minute.
I'm just in the process of trying to locate what you're writing. I'm missing out on what you are saying.
Why are you missing out?
Yes,
Tell me
because
why
I'm trying to, yes, ma'am. I'm trying to just get what you are writing to locate it. So it's just making me like multitasking and I'm not following. So.
Okay. Let me see the font.
So it started right from the beginning. Since you entered for today's topic, we'll never see it on the board. It just appeared white plain background like this. That's why I see everybody scattering, trying to zoom, looking for it. So we are not seeing anything.
Okay, give me a minute. But let me just try and fix it from my end, okay? Let me try and fix it. So just close the board and try again. So guys, just give me a minute, okay? So who can see this?
Yeah, we are seeing it now. Yeah, preparing. The whiteboard preparing.
The board is still loading.
So can you all see it now?
Yes.
Still white background, but we'll never see anything written on it.
Okay. Now you can see it, right? Can you see it now?
Yes, we can, but the font size, if you can increase it a bit, please.
Yes, please. Yes, it's very tiny.
I've increased it to the last because this is 48. In fact, I'm using a 48 now.
Is it possible to use
Can you change the
darker,
color?
a darker
Yes.
font? Like
Can you change the
dark
color?
font?
I'm sorry, I still can't see where you're writing on. I can only see the self-introduction part of it, and the font is quite tiny.
Okay, wait. But you can see the board, right?
Yes, I can see the board.
Yes, we can.
Nigerians in Germany, if they can trace your pen, they will be able to see where you are writing currently.
Okay, so how about now?
Much
This
better.
is darker. This is better.
It's been better.
Ich
Yeah,
bin
much
Mabel.
better.
It's been
Yes, I
Mabel.
can
Yeah.
see where you're writing on now.
It's better.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
So then this beruflich, they are asking you what's your occupation. So if you're a student, I say for men, you can say ich bin Student. For female, you say ich bin Studentin. Ich bin Studentin. Ich bin Studentin. So if you're a teacher, for example, you can now say ich bin Lehrer. Ich bin Lehrer. So for men is Lehrer. Then for women, you say ich bin Lehrerin. Lehrerin. You see? If you're married, or we go to our template, or you want to say, okay, I speak Yoruba, I speak Hausa, I speak Ikwere, I speak Ikwere or something, Then you can now go ahead and say ich spreche. Now the question that comes with it is Sprache. Okay?
You wrote the sentence from Lera.
What?
Lera.
You're not seeing it.
It's fine now.
Okay. So the question, the template that come with what language do you speak is called Sprachen. Sprachen. Okay, and thus they are already asking you, what do you speak? Then you can now tell them, ich spreche, Beispiel, ich spreche English und Igbo. Oder ich spreche Englisch und Yoruba. Oder ich spreche Englisch und Hausa. So or if you have any other language that you want to put along with it, you can say ich spreche. Maybe you speak like 4 language already. Then you can now say ich spreche English, Hausa und Yoruba. Okay, so don't forget that the last class we said our owned is Yoruba. Owned is and. So if you have more than 5 languages you want to put, you can now say ich spreche English, Hausa, und Yoruba, or ich spreche English, Hausa, Yoruba, und Französisch. Oder you cannot say French in German. You have to use Französisch. Or just like what we are doing now. If you want to say, I am speaking English, but I'm learning German, then you can now say, ich spreche Englisch und lerne ich Deutsch. Okay? So this statement actually says, I speak English and I'm learning German. But if you already understand a bit of German, then you can now say, ich spreche English und ein bisschen. Okay, guys, just give me a minute. So I'm going to have to do a ticker one again. But this is the und ein bisschen Deutsch. Ein bisschen Deutsch. So this statement actually says, I speak English and I speak a bit of German. The first one was, I speak English, I speak Hausa and Yoruba. The second one is, I speak English and I'm learning German. So far, are we getting it? Then we move along to, they can now ask you hobbies. What's your hobby like? What do you like to do? So for someone who may be like a dancer or something, then you can now say that, okay, my favorite thing to do is to dance. Okay, you can say maybe you like to read, you're a bookworm person. You can say meine Hobby Sind. Now, if you say east, it means just one singular hobby. But by the moment you start using the word sind, then it's more. So this is what I meant by that. So if you use east, it's very singular. This is a very singular word. But if you start using sind, okay? Once you start using the word sind, it's plural. So now if you ask me, Mabel, what do you like to do? And I want to tell you, oh, I like to dance and to read book, or I even like to watch TV. Whichever hobby that you like to do. Meine Hobbys sind, meine Hobby sind, I like to watch TV, Fernsehen und tanzen. Tanzen. You see, I like to watch TV and I also like to dance. Okay, when you say book lesen, for example, maybe you like to read books, you can say book lesen. Or maybe you like to sing, for example, you can say singen. You see? So it goes on and on like that. But once you put east instead of sind, then you know that you're just talking about one particular hobby that you like to do. So let me go back because I'm going to be asking questions. Guys, don't worry. I promise that today will not be so much. We will not load ourselves with so much information. I don't mean to do that, but I really need us to move along this and to finish it and to show that we all understood what we are learning together. So I'm going to go back to the board and see who I can say, introduce yourself. Who can introduce? You can tell me that you want to try, so you can raise your hand. If not, I'm going to call someone. So who wants to introduce themselves to me? Jennifer Ayaruja, please try. Introduce yourself. Tell me where you come from. Okay, I'm going to say the question in English so you can tell me where you come from. What is your name?
Okay, my name is Jennifer.
Where do you come from?
Ich komme aus Nigeria.
Welche Sprache? Which language do you speak?
Ich spreche English und ein bisschen Deutsch.
Okay. And where do you live?
Ich wohne in Abuja, Nigeria.
Okay, perfect. And what do you do?
Ich bin auditor.
Okay, auditor, you will have to put IN at the end. If you say,
auditorin.
Yeah, if you say I am an auditor, then it means that you're a man. Don't forget we have masculine and feminine.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so give yourself a round of applause. You did well.
Yay, thank you.
So Sunday, please introduce yourself to us. What's your name? Where do you come from? Where do you live? What language do you speak? What do you do? And what's your hobbies like?
Okay. Ich bin Sunday. Can you give me the order? I can't really remember the order.
Where do you come from?
Okay. Ich komme aus Nigeria. Ich spiele. Hello? Okay.
Where do you live?
Ich wohne in Lagos.
What language do you speak?
Ich spiele sehr gut Englisch und ein bisschen Deutsch.
Okay. Ich spreche.
Ich spreche. Okay, thank you.
And what's your occupation?
Occupation. Okay. Ich bin frei. Ich bin web developer. I think I got that.
Nochmal? Say it
Okay.
again.
Ich bin web developer.
Okay. Und Hobbys?
Ich spiele sehr gut Videospiele.
Okay,
Ich höre Musik.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. So, anybody has a question? If you did not understand up until this time, raise your hand now and let us know. Thank you very much, Sunday. You can mute yourself. Thank you. So, who else want to ask a question? Or you want Cecilia? What do you have for us? Tell us. What's your question?
Okay, I didn't get the nationality part because I'm actually jotting down. I didn't get to see how to write the. I'm like, where do you come from? I didn't get that part.
Where do you come from? So I gave us a template. So I'm going to write that template again. So give me a minute. George, I'll call you in a bit. George will, I'll call you in a bit. So let me quickly answer a question. So I gave us a template, right? This template is the one that we are going to be using to introduce ourselves. And I'm going to write it out again so that we all get it. Now, the land that you're asking for is the land. Okay, so I'm writing the template again. Okay, Name. So, Name. Name. Land. Wohnort. Sprachen. Beruf. Hobbies. Now, the list goes on and on and on, and sometimes you see ITA, okay? So the list go on and on and on, just like we have it also in English. This ITA means age, okay? How old are you? So, what am I pronouncing? Ugochukwu, please, let's hear from you. Your hand is raised.
Okay, thank you. Okay, my question is, under the hobbies, you said minor hobbies, and now my question with that is the minor. It's if I'm to say that as a man, do I use the minor still?
Mine.
Because
Yeah.
you talked about the feminine and the masculine. So is that for feminine or it's for both?
Sometimes they use it for both. Sometimes you can personalize it to yourself. So if I want to say it and I want to really personalize it, I will say minor. But for you, you say mine. Okay?
Okay, for me, I'll say mine.
Mine. So
mine
like,
hobbies and
yeah, my hobbies and okay. So introduce yourself now that you're here with us. Introduce yourself. Go ahead, use those templates. Introduce yourself.
Can I go on?
Yeah, you can. Use that template I just wrote now. Aside this one, talk about this.
I have another question to ask.
Okay, go ahead.
How do I pronounce my name in German? Justice.
Yeah, the normal way you pronounce it in English. You don't have to fine-tune it. Yeah.
Okay, I was thinking there should be another pronunciation for justice.
No, your name is your name. Whichever land you come from, it remains your name.
Okay.
So use the templates. Go ahead.
Okay. My name is Justice Judgewell. Ich woher Nigeria.
What did I
Ich
say this
spreche.
land? What did I say this land was?
The land is where you live,
No. The
where you come
land is
from.
where you come from. That is your
Okay.
nationality.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Ich komme aus Nigeria.
Ich komme aus Nigeria. Mhm.
Ich komme aus Nigeria.
Mhm.
Ich woher. Ich woher. Sorry, I missed that.
Ich wohne.
Ich
Ich,
wohne.
ja. Mhm.
Ich wohne in Port Harcourt.
Ich wohne in Port Harcourt.
Ich wohne in Port Harcourt. Yeah.
Okay, and then?
Ich spreche English.
Mhm.
And ich spreche Englisch und lernen Deutsch.
Okay, und lernen Deutsch. Aha.
Yes. Ich bin Lehrer.
Mhm. Okay.
So mein Hobbys sind Singen
Okay.
und Tanzen.
Okay. Mhm.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So, Manson Eberechukwu, do you want to ask a question or you want to introduce yourself? Matson, you have to report yourself here because your hands are still raised. Okay, so let's move along quickly, guys. So now that we've covered this area, now remember that I said it goes on and on and on. Like if you want to say your family status, I am single, I am married, I have a child, or I have 2 children, you know, it goes on and on and on. Martin, you have to ask your question. If not, I'm going to lower your hand. So you can unmute yourself to speak. Okay, so then, like I said, it goes on and on and on. The list is endless. For example, Blessing. Blessing, let's hear from you. Okay. So I can say, for example, mein Name ist Mabel. Ich komme aus Nigeria. Ich bin 100 Jahre alt. Ich wohne in Lagos. Ich spreche Englisch, Yoruba und ein bisschen Deutsch. Ich bin eine Lehrerin, beruflich. Meine Hobbys sind Fernsehen und Tanzen. Then I can now go ahead to say ich bin ledig oder ich bin verheiratet. That means, let me write that. Ich bin ledig oder ich bin verheiratet. Ich bin ledig. Ich bin ledig oder verheiratet. Verheiratet. Okay, this means I am single or I am married. Okay, so I am single or I am married. If you have children, then you can now go ahead to say, ich habe maybe a child, ein Kind, oder ich habe, we already did our numbers, so our numbers will come in, 4 Kinder. You can say how many children you have. Or if you don't have anyone, you can now say, ich habe keine Kind oder Kinder. You see? Then the question goes on and on and on and on like that. So now to move on quickly, we now move on to our other class of how to know somebody. How do you know somebody? What is this question? Okay, we have done self-introduction. So somebody can say Mabel or Amarachi Igwe, please introduce yourself to us. Then you can be bold to say, I am Amarachi, I come from Port Harcourt, I live in Lagos, I speak English. You can say all of that. But how do you meet somebody and how do you have conversation with them? Like, how do I say to Babajide Ojona and say, what is your name? Or where do you come from? Or what's your family name? These are the questions that you probably want to ask that person, okay? I don't just want to be introducing myself. You have to ask me a question before I can, introduce myself. Or maybe I skipped an information and you want to ask me that question like, oh, what do you do? Let's go to that. And that topic is called Yeman Kennelen. Okay? It's called Yeman Kennelen. That's like to meet someone. Okay? Yeman Kennelen. To know somebody. Remember at our first class, we were trying to conjugate, but I have to stop it. So now that conjugation, we are going to need it here. So when you're going to Z, okay, a big S, okay, or do. When you're using this do, it's in informal situations or settings, okay, or settings. Or you use it for your friends. You use it for your friends or someone below your age. Or you use it for some children. You use it for family or your acquaintances. So when you start to use this do, then you know that, okay, these are the people these are the set of people in your life that you're using it for. But when you start using this big Z, for example, then you know that is for your boss at work or formal situations or settings as well. Or settings. For strangers or someone you don't know at all, or someone older than you. And of course, like I said, in a very official situations, that's when you use it. So these questions that I say, guys, I'm so sorry, I'm going to have to drag my nose a bit because I have some cold. Okay, so when you're saying this template that I gave you, how do you now ask them the question? Okay, remember I say Yeman Kellen. You want to know how the formal way and the informal way to ask question and to meet somebody. And you want to ask me, what is my name? This is the question you will ask the person. Wie heißen Sie? Wie heißen Sie? It simply means, what are you called? What is your name? Okay? And when you start to use wie heißt du, then you see that this heißen Sie, wie heißen Sie, is for a formal situation. But when you bring it down to do, then you know that this is informal situation. Okay, give me a minute. So this is very, very important. If not, we cannot start a conversation. You cannot start a conversation to ask me, how are you, for example. I will not answer you because I don't know you. So I'm not going to answer. So if you want to say, please, what are you called? These two questions are very, very vital for you to know. Okay, so keep it at the back of your mind like that. Then maybe I want to ask you, how are you? I cannot ask you, wie geht's dir? Then you will now start asking me, do we know each other before? Because by the time I start using this dear, for example, this dear also means for someone that you know, your friends, family. But when you start using ihnen, it means for formal situations. So now that we know how to say wie heißen Sie, then maybe John or Babajide can now say ich heiße Babajide, or ich heiße Mabel, or ich heiße Itoa, you know. Then you now move on to ask the person, wie ist deine Familienname? What is your family name? What is your family name? Give me a minute. What is your family name? You will say my Familienname. So let me write that question. Wie ist Ihre Familienname? Familienname. What is your surname? Then you can now say my Familienname. Familienname ist Igwe. You see? So this is the question. This is the answer. So I'm going to write Q here, and this is the A. Okay? And maybe you want to now ask the person, what do you do? Don't forget, in this situation, this year is official setting. But when you want to say it unofficial, I mean, guys, we have to get used to saying official and unofficial in this class, because that's the way they prioritize it, you know. Everybody know your space. That's how it is. So this wie ist Ihre Familienname is very, very, very nice in a very formal setting. But when you want to ask me, for example, you can now say, wie ist deine Familienname? Wie ist dein, if it's a man, or if you're using for woman, you use deine Familienname. You see, that's the difference. So if you now answer me and say, my Familienname is Oloruntobiloba, for example, then you want to go to was machen Sie beruflich? Was machen Sie beruflich? Okay? And this question I'm asking is, what do you do, or what's your occupation? Now, this Z is still a official situation. Don't forget, once you start seeing a very big S, you should know that it's a very official situation. Okay? This is an official situation. This is an official situation. But when you want to say to, this is a formal setting. Formal setting. Okay? But when you now want to say to somebody you know, then you now go ahead and conjugate. You have to what's conjugation of English? Is the same word now. Conjugate. Yes. So if you want to say it to somebody you're older than, or your friends or your family, you don't use this marking. You have to conjugate this marking to magst. Was magst du beruflich? You see that this do is already in informal form. Informal form. So that also gives us this verb in a conjugated way. This is conjugated. Now, the verb I'm using for this is called marking. I know most of us can remember that word. Can we see the board, please? Can we see the board?
I was about saying that it has been altered.
Okay. So you see, the verb that we are using here is called marking. I know most of you remember that we were supposed to continue, but I felt it was too much for us. So the verb I'm using here is called marking. Okay, that means to do. Marking, to do. What do you do? So in this form, every word in German, you have to conjugate it. Okay, like the one that we did, that we said is pressure English. The one that I conjugated was sprechen. Now, when I conjugated it, I said ich spreche English. So I have conjugated this verb you're seeing here. I cannot say ich spreche English. It will be grammatically incorrect. So every word that comes in German, you have to conjugate it. And once you conjugate it, you have to conjugate it exactly to the person that you are speaking to. So, for example, if you are speaking to your mom, to your family, you know that you will use do for them. But when you are in a very official situation, you will know that you will use z for them. But before you now use your do or z, you have to conjugate that verb. Very, very important. Okay? You have to conjugate it before you speak it to me. You have to conjugate it. So you cannot ask me now and say, welche Sprachen? You can say, welche Sprachen sprachst du? You see, you still have to conjugate it. That means what I just said now is, welche Sprache? This is the question that I just asked. Welche Sprachen sprichst du? I'm gonna clean this. Yeah. So, sprichst du, you're still gonna have to, but this sprich is very, very irregular verb. Okay, sprichst du. You still have to conjugate it. So, like, for example, if you want to ask me, what do I do beruflich? That's when you see was magst du beruflich? Okay, but when you are in a very formal setting, you can now say was machen Sie beruflich? You see the difference? So these verbs are always very conjugated. In our next class, I'm going to try for us to start conjugating our verbs. They are very, very easy to conjugate, but there are some verbs that are very, very irregular ones. So don't worry, those irregular ones, we'll keep them aside till when we have time for them. But the ones that are very, very easy, we'll be doing them over time so that you can now know, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. So these are some of the questions that come with this template that I just asked, that I asked us to keep in mind. You know, you can now ask me, how old are you? If you want to ask me, how old are you? You cannot say, for me now, wie alt bist du? So you have to conjugate my verb. Wie alt bist du? You see, this beast is already in a conjugated form. Can anyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Then, okay, so if you are asking in a very formal setting, wie alt sind Sie? So this verb that we are conjugating here is called seid. Okay, it's very irregular verb. Then if I want to now tell you, ich bin 100 Jahre, ich bin 100 Jahre alt. This bin is already in a conjugated form. Okay, every word, every verb comes in a very conjugated manner. So if you're asking me a question, you have to conjugate it to the situation that we are both in. So if I am maybe your child, for example, you will know that you will use the do for me. But when you know that, okay, this person might be older than me, or this person might be a stranger that I don't know, then it's very nice to be here, to just stay with the Z. Then when the person now say to you that, okay, please don't use Z for me, use do, then that means that the person is actually very comfortable with you to use do for them and not Z. So in such situation, maybe your colleague at work, if you see that the person is a bit older, don't go and use do for them. Also, when you come across official people like police and the likes of them, you don't go and use do for them. In fact, if you use do for them, they can even give you a fine. They can give you a fine for using do for them, because once you start using do for them, you personalize it. But once you use Z, they know that, okay, there is respect. So there is a bit of respect in the language until when the person say, no, it's fine, you can use do for me. Okay? So I will just stop here a bit and ask a question. And I'm going to see who I can ask this question. Jude Akintayo. So I want you to introduce yourself, but I want Opeyemi Akintomide to ask you these questions. So I'm going to say it in English, and Opeyemi will have to ask you in German, and then you can answer her. Okay, so the two of you can unmute yourself. I'm waiting for you guys to unmute yourself. Are you unmuted?
Yep.
Okay, so Opeyemi, we are waiting for you. Opeyemi Akintomide. Okay, Opeyemi, you have to report yourself here. So then let's take Titilope Ifeolu. Please unmute yourself. Titilope, if you can hear me, unmute yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, so Titilope, you will be asking him the question, and Akintayo will answer you. So how do you ask him, what is your name?
Bihai Senzi.
Okay.
I say Jude.
Okay, ask him for his family name.
Versus your family name.
Mein family name is Akintayo.
Ask him what he does. What is his occupation?
Okay. Vax Max 2. Sure.
Yeah, ich beruf als IT specialist.
Okay. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you. So just a few here and there correction, and you guys are good to go. So first of all, Opeyemi, you started with using Z for him, and then you ended up using do for him. You see? So once you start using Z, finish it with Z. Once you start using do, then finish it with do. Okay? So who is very unmuted? Okeke. Okeke, you can unmute yourself, and Blessing Andrew, you can also unmute yourself, and let's see who asks who question. Okeke, you can go ahead, unmute yourself. Okay, and who else did I call? Okay, Blessing. So Blessing, ask him, okay, wait, okay, Chika, ask her what's her name.
Okay. Blessing. Sorry. Wie heißen Sie?
My name is Blessing.
Ask her family name.
Wer ist Ihr Familienname?
Say it again.
Wer ist Ihr Familienname?
Wie ist Ihre Familienname?
Okay. Wie ist Ihr Familienname?
My Familienname is Andrew.
Ask her which land does she come from? What's her nationality?
Okay. Wer kommen Sie? Wer kommen Sie?
Woher
Kommen
kommen
Sie?
Sie?
Kommen
Ich
Sie?
komme aus Nigeria.
Okay. Ask her occupation.
Okay. Was machen Sie beruflich?
Mein Beruf ist Lehrerin.
Okay, perfect. So I hope that everybody can understand this. Thank you very much, ladies. Thank you. So who else has a question for us before we move on? If you have a question, please, you can unmute yourself and speak, or you can raise your hand, I'll call you. Benjamin, go ahead.
Okay, guten Abend, Frau Mabel. Meine Frage ist über sich vorstellen.
Nochmal bitte.
My question is about the introduction.
Okay.
Why is alter at the last? I was thinking that alter used to be after your name, then your alter, then bonus, then all of that.
Like I said, it depends on you, and it's graduate it's graduate as you go on. So if you want
Okay.
to have more and more information, okay, if I don't ask
Yeah.
you how old are you, you might decide not to tell me. So, but as you
Yeah.
graduate, you can tell me your name, you can tell me where you come from, you can tell me your nationality, you can tell me if you're single, you can tell me what you do, you can even go
Okay.
ahead and expatiate on your hobbies. You can now tell me your age, however you want to do it. Now, because ITA, it does not, unless you want to properly, yeah, I mean, everybody has a proper way of introducing themselves, but as ladies sometimes we don't want to say our age, so I might
Yeah.
decide that information and not tell you. So if you now ask me the height base do, I might not even tell you how old I am.
Yeah,
So
clap.
it depends on how you want to put your preference of introduction. Okay, you don't have to say it all the way like they taught us in school. No, you don't have to.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's why I
Thank you,
put
sir.
that as the end. Petition.
Yeah.
So who else wanna ask me a question? Who else wanna ask a question? If you don't ask a question, I'm going to ask somebody a question. So it's better you start asking me your question now before I call somebody. And I'm seeing a very lovely name here. And I'm looking, maybe should I call the person or not? So then if you are not going to ask me a question, then I'm going to ask Precious Ayi to introduce himself or herself. Precious Ayi, please introduce yourself. Okay, Precious, please report yourself here. Toby Are, please introduce yourself.
Okay. Guten Abend.
Guten Abend.
Okay. Okay, let's start. Ich heiße Toby Are. Ich komme aus Nigeria. Ich wohne in Osogbo, Osun State. Ich spreche Englisch, Yoruba und ein bisschen Deutsch. Ich bin Dozentin von Beruf. Und meine Hobbys sind Lesen und Tanzen. What else? Okay.
Where do you live? Where do you live?
Ich wohne in Osogbo, Osun State.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. Shows everybody is flowing along. So let me call one more person. Oyekachi Ume Anya. I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing that correctly. Oyekachi, please unmute and introduce yourself to us. Oyekachi, we can hear you.
So which one should I answer first? Just my name.
Introduce yourself. Introduce yourself in a full way you will do it.
Okay. My name is Jane. Ich komme aus Nigeria.
Okay.
Ich wohne Lagos. Ich bin Studentin. Ich spreche English und Igbo.
Okay.
My hobbies sind Tanzen und Fernsehen.
Nochmal?
Mein Hobby sind Tanzen und Singen.
Okay, singen. Okay. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, guys, so now I hope we fully get the picture of knowing someone and how to introduce yourself. Now, Cecilia Ama, can you introduce yourself so far? Cecilia, you can unmute to speak.
Okay, I don't know if I can really go far because I'm struggling with certain like the location and the nationality. I don't know if I can't even say anything there. I'm struggling with it. But I can
Okay,
just say
what's your struggle?
I didn't get to jot that part down, both the spelling, the pronunciation. I'm struggling with it. I don't really know how to go about it.
Okay, give me a minute. Let me note that down. And what else?
That's just the part, the location and nationality and age. Because the
Okay.
numbers part, I don't know anything about numbers.
Okay, then land, for example, nationality. I said ish, comma, house, Nigeria. I'm going to write that again, and then you can tell us, okay?
Okay,
Aside that, just I'm opening my board again. Oluchuku, I'll get back to you in a bit. Let me answer Cecilia. So you want to say ish, comma, house, Nigeria, right? So you write it this way. So ish, comma, house, Nigeria. You see, I am from Nigeria, or I come from Nigeria. Okay, ish, comma. Now the verb I conjugated here is coming. Okay, the verb I conjugated there. Remember, I always say that when I start using all these words, they are verbs that are in conjugated manner. Okay, don't forget that. So when you want to ask maybe an official person now, it still stays in this comment. It doesn't change. But once you personalize it to yourself or to your sister or to your family, then you now ask, comes do. Comes do. Now you see that the verb has changed because this is in a conjugated form already. Now, Cecilia, can you now introduce yourself? Oluchuku, I'm going to come back to you. Can you try to introduce yourself now?
Yes, I can try.
Okay, give it a try.
Okay. My name is Cecilia. Ich ich sprich English und
Ich spreche.
Okay, ich spreche English und ein
bisschen Deutsch.
Ein bisschen Deutsch, yes.
Ja, ein bisschen Deutsch. Okay?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
That's what I can say for now.
Say
Like
your
I said, I'm
hobbies.
still
What is
struggling.
your family name? What is your family name?
My family name is
yes.
Ich Familienname
Meine Familienname ist Amma.
Okay. My Familienname Amma.
Okay, ist Amma. Just like is in English.
Okay.
Okay. Okay,
Thank
so
you.
Oluchuku, you're welcome. Oluchuku, tell us your question. Your hand was raised. Anyway, it's time for our question time.
Okay, my question was this. For the Beruf, initially, when you asked, we answered each being, for example, each being student, or each being student, and then we also answered the second way, mein beruflich ist. data analyst, for example. So is there any situation where we should use one or we should use
No.
the
I mean, when you're speaking and you want to be more refined and you want to be more polished, you can decide to use anyone. But, it just shows the level at which you advance. You can ask me, was magst du beruflich? Now, a quick hint is that the answer is always in the question. For example, you ask me, was magst du beruflich? Then I can pick up from where you stop and say, ich bin eine Lehrerin beruflich. You see, I am a teacher by occupation. So the question or the answer is always in the question. You ask me, wie heißt du? What is your name? What are you called? I cannot reply you and say, ich heiße Mabel. You see, was ist deine Familienname oder wie ist deine Familienname? Then I'll now reply you, meine Familienname ist Igwe or Lanre or Latayo. You see, the answer is always in the question. So however you are asked and you want to reply the same person without stress, just speak from where they stop and then you continue from there. And this is just a very small expo that works over time. Okay, so you don't have to stress your head and say, okay, what do I use now? What do I use now? No, just pick up from where the person left. Okay, so you don't, Blessing, tell me. You guys, you can ask your question. We have few minutes to close. So, Blessing, you can ask your question. If nobody's asking, I'm going to ask.
Okay, guten Abend.
Guten Abend.
So my question is regarding the occupation. Yeah. So, example, the teacher, you gave us the one for the masculine and feminine. That's the Lehrer and Lehrerin. So is it applicable to all all occupation, or are there some that it's just static? Whatever you are is what you are. For example, banker, the data analyst, some people mentioned, and even the web developer. Do you conjugate it to both the feminine and masculine on?
Of course. Like I said before, you see this. Let me go to my board again. So you see this masculine and feminine thing is a really big thing that you have to master it. So I said somebody was a Lehrer, which is teacher, right? Let me change my font again.
Yes, that's correct.
So I said somebody was a Lehrer. Then you as a female person, Lehrer, you as a female person, because this is the masculine form. But when it comes to you and you want to personalize it to yourself, I am a teacher, this IN is very, very important. For example, you can say, I am a driver. Let me put it in English now. You say, I am a driver. When you want to conjugate it as a female, you have to still say, although the English might not be correct, but you get the context of what I'm saying. I am a driver. So this IN, it's very, very important when you are talking about your beruf.
Okay.
That will separate you being a man. You can say the general word, but when it comes to you as a female person in that occupation, this IN is very, very important that you put it at the back of it.
So I'm sorry again. So if one is a banker, a female banker, one can say bankering.
Yes, it's very, very important.
All right then. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. So it will differentiate you, or it will specify, okay, this is a woman or this is a man. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So who else is asking me a question? If you don't ask, I have to still ask a question still. I have to ask a question. So, Blessing, your hand is still up. So let me see. Chinanzo Ubasi. Ask me a question. If not, I'm going to ask you a question. Chinonso, please introduce yourself. Chinonso Ubasi. Chinonso, please introduce yourself. Okay, Chinonso, I don't know where you are, but report yourself here. Daniel Oni, introduce yourself. Okay, Daniel, you have to report yourself here. Fumilayo Oyedeji, you can unmute to introduce yourself. Okay, where are all of these people? Justice, introduce yourself.
I don't mute myself.
Yes, you are unmuted.
Okay.
So,
sorry about that.
no, it's okay. Please introduce yourself to us.
Guten Abend.
Guten Abend.
My name is Fumilayo Yedeji.
Mhm.
Ich komme aus Nigeria.
Mhm.
Ich wohne in Lagos.
Okay.
Ich spreche English Yoruba.
Mhm.
Ich bin Schneiderin.
Okay.
My hobby is dancing.
Dancing. Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. So, guys, this is our assignment and our take home today. Please go and write down how you're going to introduce yourself, starting from when you are going to greet the person. So, for example, we have our Saturday class around 12. How do you start? And I'm going to also prepare a question on how we will introduce ourselves. So that means I'm not going to be doing the talking. You are going to be introducing yourself. I hope that nobody has any question for me again. Faye today, please answer your question, or please ask your question rather.
Guten Abend.
Guten Abend.
Okay, my question is, in a case that your name have meaning in German language, are you going to say your name in English form or translate it to German form?
What do you mean? If your name is in German language, you say it in German. If your name is in English, you say it in English.
Okay.
You don't have to conjugate your own name. Your name is your name, you know. Ich bin, I cannot say fate in German, you know. I would just say ich bin fate today. I don't have to conjugate fate to German word, you know. So
Alright,
you just say it the way it is.
okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So, okay, Samuel Olarire, what do you have for us?
I have a small question. List of occupations, how can we get it? So that we can get the masculine and the feminine form.
Then you have to stay tuned and stay in the class next week to get it, because we'll be moving to that later.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, Justice Ugochukwu, you want to ask a question?
Yes, thank you. Mine is not a question, actually, it's just a reminder. You promised you were going to let us see your face, so that's what I was going to ask.
Okay, for now you will not see my face, but maybe if you stay to the end of the class, you can obviously see my face.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Kelvin James, tell us what do you have for us?
Guten Abend.
Guten Abend.
I'm having a problem with the area of answering about your age. How old are you? When were you born?
Mm-hmm.
I'm having kind of because I was having issue with my network when you were teaching that part. So I didn't get it properly.
Okay, so if you want to ask the age, you already know the numbers, right? The height base 2. The height base 2. How old are you? Okay. It's like this. I wrote it before, but I'm gonna write it again. Yes, I know. I'm so sorry, guys. So the height base 2. How old are you? The height base 2. How old are you? And then you can now say, ich bin 100 Jahre alt. You see? So that's how you answer this question. Wie alt bist du? Ich bin 100 Jahre alt. So to closing, I hope that's answer your question. So I really want to thank you guys for coming. I really love you guys. Please, please, please keep everything that we have learned. Keep rehearsing, go back to your notes and check them out again. If you have any question, write it down immediately. And then on Saturday, it will be one of the first things we are going to treat. I love you and I wish you a very amazing night. Thank you, Chike, for your time. We really love you. Thank you, guys.
Dankeschön.
Tschüss.
Tschüss.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
Tschüss. Tschüss. Good night. Schlaf schön. Tschüss.
Danke.
Bitte,
Danke.
bitte. Bitte, bitte. Good night. Schlaf schön. Ciao.
So, thank you.